Good afternoon. How are you? Well, I'm told by Thomas Jefferson it's 84 degrees. There is not a leaf moving as I walk here, and you can probably see it to my right. Nothing is moving, but the sunlight is great and it's beautiful out. Some of you like the questions that I was asking at the end of my last walk and talk. And the reason that we react that way is because no one's asking those questions. They're obvious questions. Now, my view about humor in a courtroom is that you do not tell a joke unless everybody in the room will be laughing except the butt of the joke, your adversary or the defendant or defendants or the political personage who's present. So, for example, one question to Trump would be, so, Mr. Trump, are you going to have to get approval from the probation office to go to China? Mr. Trump, what restrictions are there on you that compromise your ability to fulfill your office? Mr. Trump, you're not free to do or not do what a probation officer tells you. You're in a jail cell. Anyhow, you have your own questions, but here's my exercise. We shouldn't be responding to him. We know who he is. We know what's wrong with him. We know what we should be doing. We should be doing and saying it. Now, I thought I'd start with, if I remember the situation. There are two charming people who are particularly distinguished by their age. The woman is 102 years old. The man is 100. And this older woman married this younger man, and everybody turned out for it. Now, at first, some people thought it was a joke, but no, they were serious because they'd been friends for the last, 6 or 7 years. And he had been a little depressed lately, and it brought them even closer together. And they said, let's get married. That's the kind of optimism that we celebrate. That at this age, they still seize life. They seize this relationship. They bring together the large number of relatives who are still present. And can you imagine that rabbi? The whole rest of his life, he'll be telling people that story. So, that's marvelous. But there's another thing here that's kind of interesting. And it is that in order to get a license to get married, they had to have identification. And they didn't have it. No voter ID. And so when they went to do it, to get their identification, there were 50 people in line and they got out of their way so they could get the appropriate papers. Now, between the two of them, there's no dementia, there's no cancer. They're kind of amazingly healthy for people who've lived this long. And they're people who seize the day. Carpe diem. Unfortunately, we have politicians all across America whose real slogan is Carpe mañana, seize tomorrow. Which, yes, I mean it as a slander on all these phony baloney politicians and so-called leaders who can give us 100 reasons why they can react to something. Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing it. That's not the argument. The argument is don't get stuck on the trial. Use it. For example, and this is a good bad number. There's now been a poll. 49% of Americans think he should end his campaign. Now that's good. The next question is, why aren't there more? Isn't it obvious that this guy, if he gets any time at all, can't do the job? Isn't it obvious that if there's any way for it to happen, there are going to be trials on these other cases, if not before the election, after it. So he's going to be sitting in a courtroom as the, quote, president if he's elected. There's a horrific thought to imagine, right? And why are there 51% who are so dumb, who are so irresponsible that they think it's okay to have a convict in the White House if he should get elected? Who are these people? We don't talk about it because we're not supposed to talk about it, but we have to talk about it. There's a lot of hate in this group. Discrimination, fear, and ignorance. And obviously, it's very easy to make them pliable to the most ridiculous stories. When you consider what Fox News is doing every day, and that people would buy their swill, you got to wonder who these people are. Now, I've had exchanges with people who maybe don't study and read as much as I do, but when you ask them what they think, they have reasons. They disagree with what the quote common sense is if it doesn't make sense to them. That's us. We're that 49%. And there's more of us, but they can't figure it out. Why? Because they're ignorant. They don't read. They don't study what's going on. How could you possibly not know that Trump is the worst thing that maybe ever happened to America, except as compared with the Civil War? And we have now a civil war. Now this court, which I think we should move on from, but we should learn the lessons from it, is a beacon of light that Trump is vulnerable for his misconduct. That we brought him down. And it's one of those things where he doesn't really seem to appreciate it. He doesn't know what to say about it. So he weakly says, well, I'll go to jail. Yeah, I guess he pictures himself another Hitler in jail writing his Mein Kampf. Guy doesn't read, doesn't write, except those little things. You can write those, 140 word, 200 word items, make a book. He can't even be as good as Hitler, if that's a way to put it. Good in the evil sense, but he's trying. He's a wannabe Hitler, wannabe dictator, want to rule the world. This is a sick dude, really sick. And there are people who embrace him. 51% don't have an opinion that he should step aside. I'll bet you there are a lot of Republicans with an IQ up there in 150 or so who are saying to themselves, this is scary as hell. Is the fact that the voters know me mean that I'll be returned to an office? Now, most incumbents do get returned, but I think there's a very good chance we're going to win the House and the Senate if rational discourse finds its way and we stop being defensive and we start punching this guy in the face, metaphorically speaking, because that's what it takes. This is a fight for the life of a democracy, a fight against a fascist, a fight for equality, for equal justice before law, that no person is above anybody else. Yeah, it's fine to be wealthy in this country, but not at the expense of everybody else. Do your fair share, and let's help the other people. It was, when I was younger, the notion that the wealthy got certain advantages, fine. And we transferred jobs and different kinds of payments to the middle class. And we had a concern about the poor, the hungry, the people who are just living on the edge of society and don't have a house or something. Where's that America? We talk about our past because we're glum about our future. We talk about the things that we did because we're not doing them anymore. We went to the moon. Well, okay. What did you do lately? Do you have any idea what it is? Do you support science in school? Do you support science, period? So the elements that make up that 51% who can't say, get out of the race, these people are our problem. These people are the element of what we have when we have anarchy. We don't have it yet. We may never have it. And one of the reasons that we may not have it is no matter what happens on election day, Biden is president through the end of January. And that means anybody's going to come into town and try to take over the Congress or start with violence is not going to have control of the levers of security for the nation. And we should keep that in mind. But we should be pounding, figuratively, on the doors of the Supreme Court for them to get out of the way. We will not allow another Bush against Gore opinion usurping the law to achieve a political result. That cannot happen. And if that happens, we should use our First Amendment right, just as gun owners can, to protest a Supreme Court that's lost its way, that talks about separation when it's very much involved in party politics. When we have 6 people walking legal zombies who are prepared to do whatever it takes to help Trump become president, no matter what adverse effect this has on America. Now, there are favorable signs. Well, I don't think we should dwell on the case in Manhattan. We should be pounding for the other cases to be brought forward and to get rid of this notion right now, twofold, that Trump can pardon himself. He can't do it. Remember, Nixon didn't do it, and there was a reason. The law didn't allow it. Also, we have the situation in which he can't pardon himself for state prosecution. That means Georgia, when they finally get their act together, assuming we have the same prosecutor in the case, they're all going to be convicted. The evidence is overwhelming. So they are in the process of delaying. That's it. And we should be calling them out for it. Now, there are other favorable signs. Somebody asked me to do a CLE, continuing legal education, and I've done them before. And I said, I'd like to do one titled, Can Lawyers Lie? Now, the answer is obvious, but what I'm talking about, and what I hope to talk about, is a spectrum of puffery to clumsy zeal to misrepresenting facts to misrepresenting the facts in the law. And Exhibit A is Rudy Giuliani, and Exhibit B is John Eastman. And both of them are the subject of very lengthy opinions in New York, in D.C., in Rudy's case, in California, in Eastman's case, that I think should guide the direction of what good lawyers should be doing and the questions they should ask themselves when they make an argument. Not just saying, well, it should be or it could be or whatever. Know the facts. There's a big difference between wrongly putting an emphasis on a set of facts that do not carry the day in the case. It's another to make up facts and to ignore law and even make up law to justify winning an election. That's kind of the spectrum. So, what are we going to do? We're going to bury the Republican Party. If we get up off our hindquarters and we talk and we vote and we contribute and we stop responding passively, but every day we say, you are undeserving to even be a citizen of the United States. All the trouble you've created, I don't know if you remember, it's a long time ago. What was it? Man Without a Country. Put on a ship and wander the world. Well, we can't give such a poetic ending to Trump, but we can put him in a cell and we can prevent him from doing any more harm. And then we can deal with his soldier of ignoramuses, the soldiers of who are ignoramuses, in our own good time. Something that's important can't be done quickly, particularly when so much damage has been done. But we're going to put this nation together again. We're going to crush these beasts that don't care about us. They don't even care about themselves, because most of their projects are to compromise themselves and their families. So, that's my happy talk, thinking of South Pacific. That's my happy talk for this day as I talk to you from the Cathedral of Trees. Hope to talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.